Hello,
Hello.
good morning.
Good afternoon.
Is it afternoon already?
The days are blending together because of the chaos of the world. Yes.
What do you have to say today?
Well, I wish that I had a message of joy or message of whatever. But message that I have for today is that for as much as the Republican Party has been a controversial party, especially as of late, very disappointing party, originally the party of thinkers such as Lincoln, who engaged with freedmen who were freed black men, who came together to decide that actually we are not functioning well as a country and we could function much better if we had equality here, right? Based on truth. Because if the blacks were the inferior people, then in what world, as soon as they're given access to being able legally to read, then they can become Frederick Douglass? See what I'm saying? So now, it is deeply, deeply disappointing that we are, those of us who grew up here, because I am an African American in the literal sense. Been here since I was, yeah. Anyway, big point here is that Democratic Party, as we approach these very, very significant and critical midterm elections, I want it to be very clear that we are not, we, the grassroots, we the people, are not going to be gaslit by you. We are not going to be bulldozed by you. We're not going to be bullied by you into cleaning up after you. Why do I mean? Why am I saying clean up? I'm saying clean up because of all the millions and millions and millions and tens of millions you've raised. Some people gave you $50 here, some gave you their 20, some gave you their 100, some gave you very generously. Now, you don't get to throw in the towel and talk about how you peaked in August, because all of the people that you often find value in compensating for this work are white men. Whereas people like Brittany, hey Obama, remember Brittany? Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg knows Brittany, as does Putin and everybody else. Because what happened? Brittany was a girl white girl, who knew how to use Facebook. Just like us MySpace kids, we learned the internet and how to use it. What does she do? She is a part of other people who are in contribution to getting you in office, Obama. Wow, that's historical. But she uses social media and it's powerful. What a tool. Now what happens is, you don't see the value in her, Democratic Party, so you don't want to compensate Brittany and give Brittany what she needed to be able to do what? To be able to buy back her family's house. Because what? Her father lost the family house in the financial crises. Oh, right, yes. Where all the bros always get a little bit of a free pass no matter who's impacted. Oh, what? People lost their home, whoops. And did their double up and made sure that they saved themselves, right? But let's blame China. No. China came and gave you a presentation and you all got drunk and led in your convention instead of paying attention and going and checking out the factories before you took American people's monies and pensions and invested in it. So guess what? Is it really China's fault? Or is it the fault of your recklessness, of those of you who call yourselves the captains of enterprise, the captains of our financial systems in our stock markets? Who do we blame when what is considered the template, right? Because we know, bros, right? You're the ones that get to be the custodians of all of this thing. When we talk about wolves of Wall Street, Leo told the story very well. I love you, Leo. What is the problem here? The problem here is that between your think tanks of people who were once making really bad policy on drugs, who are now having think tanks that are talking about how, marijuana is this, and who are definitely already at front gate to get the contracts for research on marijuana as medicinal, instead of the indigenous peoples from different parts of the world who have been using this plant for different reasons, but demonized and stigmatized. Right. So now, what happens when the Democratic Party, the progressive side of things, has only become itself an extreme level of not being able to be tolerant enough to have conversation, where we're just supposed to vote based on color, but not based on what we've seen and what we've experienced? Where I've been in Astoria here for almost 3 months now, and the elections are just around the corner, but I guess AOC, we're all just supposed to have your back. Do you have our backs? Do you? I've met you a couple of times. I even spoke just after you there about immigrant lives there in DC. Now, what's the problem? The problem would be that if for some of you, you could pretend that my messaging was too much, but don't you now remember that maybe that messaging and that fire in that messaging would have helped get us to a much better place now than where you all are? Exactly. But what is the big betrayal? Again, twice betrayed, is that when I didn't do things your way and I decided I'm out of this whole thing, I think it's very boring. I thought your whole movement was boring. I thought all you Democratic congresspeople were very boring. That's why I never bothered to come and take photo ops. I did not care. Because I worked for Rangel. I was an intern for Congressman Rangel. Yes, the legendary Congressman Rangel here in Harlem. Senator Perkins, I know him, sat at the table with him. So it was not new to me to be around leadership, but I just thought some of you were very lackluster and I did not want to photo op cheesing next to people that I didn't actually believe in. That's why I asked Amsterdam News to take out my quote, because I would never co-sign Schumer, because I have been battling Schumer since DC. So the Bronx fires, when he comes into the visa part of it, it's just me and him. I didn't even know what Adams was doing. I was on top of Schumer. So what happens now, Schumer? Why do I have to be on top of you? You're supposed to be the Democrat. You're supposed to be this Jewish person who, me as a Nazareth. Now, on a spiritual side, there's supposed to be a grounding of way of conduct of life and conduct of living that we have. So what happens when I see you being a front and center player in stopping green cards for children who've been here since forever, the DACA kids, that say that you love, the dreamers. I'm a dreamer from the country that you guys love, South Africa, Mandela. What's the problem? Why do you want to shut down one of Mandela's kids? Is it because she sounds a little more like Biko? Oh, right. She doesn't fit into the packaging. I guess, Oprah, that's why it would make sense that you would have Haitian Bridge Alliance come and have some soup, even though you saw that South African who's not one of your girls. No, I'm not. I've met one of your girls. She was deeply, deeply, deeply disappointing and lackluster. That's when I knew, oh, okay, that makes sense then. Why we're not seeing any bloom, true bloom, of Oprah's flowers. But guess what? Where you all messed up was to get in the way of my grandmother Deliwa's foundation. I did not have a red cent from any of all your corruption because I have ethics and integrity. Ask Frank from American Voices, who couldn't believe that I was not trying to take a package. I wanted literally everyone to get green cards, you know, even though my former ED said that there's Congress people who are giving out green cards. Like, whoa, I never knew about that. Why should a organizer know about that though? You should know about that because as an organizer, you put yourself on the line, especially when you're not an American citizen. So in what world are there a bunch of immigrant organizers, DACA recipients and otherwise, who don't at least get the protection of green cards themselves, but you all say you're our allies, you're our champions? That's a lie, because guess what? End of year is almost here and we're just exactly where we were last year, except this time without Yoliswa. But at this time, Yoliswa is not going to do it for the people. Yoliswa was saying to you all who used my recommendations, it was not recommendations, it was consulting. So if you benefited off of my work, off of my op-eds, off of my videos, off of my tweets that I tweeted while shadow banned, no, I'm not trying to make myself bigger than I am. South Africa, I am that. South Africa, the narrative you're seeing shifting, that is me. Don't gaslight yourselves. And it's been for quite some years. Hence why I'm saying now, Consulate General, you have failed to intervene on behalf of your own citizens within this city. Ambassador, you have betrayed your own citizens just to have a nice okie dokie time with who? With Harry? Oh, interesting. Well, guess what? In your quest to suppress this whole Sangoma thing, this whole Shembe thing, guess what happens to you now? You have betrayed your oath as an ambassador and you are disqualified from representing South Africa in this country here because you do not have our best interests at hand. There are South Africans in Connecticut who were spiritually, blasphemously insulting spirits that you all know. In South Africa, no one pulls it there. You heard it was happening here and that these people can die out of consequences of that, and you were silent and instead worked with who? My own abusers to try to weaponize the police. But what you didn't know is that I'm an American. So I know how to speak to police officers and I'm not scared of white people, and I grew up, live in New England. So I'm not intimidated by white men. That's where you missed it, right? Because what was your intention? All of you. To have those 7 police come there and gun down a black man, a black South African man, the first black South African man to have a business in this country here when he had the first dungeon, which was an auto business, an auto studio, something none of you have ever done. Quite even Kankalaks and its fake PR propaganda of being an airline owner in America. That's a lie. DC knew it was a lie. That's why they rolled out their list of what South Africans are here and doing what. Because there's plenty who haven't been doing much. And because you have not been doing much, you can go. The whole delegation of you. From Segwanele Noko to Tom Futi to Pam, to all of you in your restraining orders, trying to do what? Categorize us as terrorists while we were stopping a terrorist attack connected to a South African passport. You idiots. Now, you are dismissed. And I want my checks. And I'm going to raise hell in this building and this Queens until you all do exactly what you know you're supposed to do for sangomas and reincarnations as you do in South Africa. You clowns.
Come on.
Ha.
Come on.
Come on.